14.01 FY24 budget discussion. And Ms. Michael, I know there's a couple questions on here from City Council from mid-March. Did we ever publicly go over those at all?
We did not.
Okay.
So they had asked the questions after our last budget work session.
Okay.
So with the timeliness of their budget coming up, we went ahead and provided them to City Council on the 13th, so they had them at their meeting. And then they were just shared with the school board via email, but not publicly reviewed. So those were the last questions, number 33 through 35.
Did anyone have any questions about those questions from City Council or any of the answers? No? Okay, I will, if you have any, just pop your hand up. I wanted to just go over real briefly I referenced last night, Dr. Noonan. And well, thank you for everyone who was able to attend last night. And thank you to Ms. Michael and Ms. Kopic, as always, for the great work on the budget. Ms. Michael and Dr. Noonan and I, along with the school board, were present last night at the City Council meeting. And Dr. Noonan and I presented the budget along with Mr. Shields, who's our city manager. And just to kind of give a summary for that, for those who didn't watch the presentation, I thanked the general government and the City Council for their partnership, especially when it comes to the revenue sharing agreement. And I'm looking at Ms. Mary Beth Connolly in the audience here, and she was integral in getting that revenue sharing agreement on paper, which, for years it hadn't been really drawn out in any detail, and so now it is. And so thank you, Ms. Connolly, for your leadership on that. I talked about the budget, how our budget's really tied to the strategic focus areas of our strategic plan. And then again, talked about the revenue sharing agreement and the fact that when revenue comes in over what the projection is, that extra revenue is supposed to be split 50-50 between the schools and the general government. And so originally the guidance in December was 4.2%, but it looks like that's going to be coming in higher. So last night, this was, I think, the first time I was talking to Dr. Noonan. This was something new for us. We came forward with a budget that came in at the guidance. The guidance the City Council gave us in December was 4.2%, and we presented a budget with a 4.2% increase from the previous year. But because that revenue has now increased over that 4.2%, last night, City Manager Shields stated that both the schools and the general government will be at a 5.2 increase. And so this is really exciting for us because it's a lot of time in years past. This is something that was done much further down the road, often after the budget had already been approved, and often more as one-time money. This is really great to have it this early and being able to work it into our budget. And that extra revenue will be pushing towards COLAs, which cost of living adjustments for our staff. Dr. Noonan talked last night he did a nice job explaining about how area surrounding systems, how much they are increasing salaries this upcoming year. So having that extra revenue and being able to bump up our COLA is going to at least make us competitive with our surrounding jurisdictions. So again, just thanking Mr. Shields and the general government for their support, and of course the City Council as well. We really view the City Council as good partners in all of this. So for now, the FY24 budget will be an increase of a 6.1% over last year. 5.2% of that is coming from the locality, from the local taxes, and then 0.9% comes from the state and federal government and grants. And then on April 18th, Siegel, the company that conducted our salary survey, is going to present their findings. And that's at our next meeting on April 18th. And we've got currently around, I think Dr. Noonan was about 220,000, 219,000 earmarked.
In the neighborhood.
Right? Yeah. Yep. Earmarked for the first round of salary adjustments based on the findings from that report. And I'm assuming that, we're going to need at least probably 2 more budget cycles probably to address all the findings in this salary study. It's probably going to be too much money to do in one budget cycle. So we'll be getting that presentation in April. I don't know, Dr. Noonan or Ms. Michael, if you wanted to add anything about the budget. where we
No,
are?
I just thought you did a great job last night. So thank you for representing the school board so well. And I think that, I was debriefing with a couple of people, and both on the council side and on the school side, and I think all of us agree that it went as well as it could have gone. And one of the values, just in the long term, of having the revenue sharing agreement is that this is now the 5th year in a row where it's been very calm. There hasn't been any infighting and the like, and I think the other value of doing the revenue sharing agreement is just sort of the openness and the transparency of what the revenue is, and allowing us to get into the share piece of it. And I think this is the first time that the council, as you mentioned, will give the schools more than we requested, but that's the beauty of a revenue sharing agreement. And there may be years where the revenue goes the other direction, and we're part of that as well. So, we also understand the backside of that. So, anyway, just great job.
Ms. Michael, did you have anything to add?
No, just thank you.
Oh, well, thank you all. I mean, this is it's really an honor to present this budget. And, I think our work that we've done with Ms. Connolly heading the finance committee for the city council and having school board members attend that. I think over the years we've had our budget buddies. So I think, we really, Dr. Noonan coming in, what was 6 years now that you've been, I think we've really made a much stronger collaborative partnership with our city council colleagues in terms of budget. And, I remember when I was PTA president, I think it was Dr. Noonan's first year, and that year was a little rocky, but since then, we've really, and again, revenue sharing is part of that. It's just been a great partnership. So again, thanks to the city council and general government, and Mr. Shields especially, for his support, and for general government support as well as the city council. Any other questions or comments about budget? Yes, Ms. Silverman.
I'm trying to think back to previous meetings. Were we getting preliminary results before the final results of Siegel, or are we just getting the final results of Siegel?
You'll get the final results. We've been sharing along the way a little bit of information, but there's been so much back and forth between files and understanding what the crush of the time is. Right now, we're sort of at the end, so it'll be the final results. And what we're going to bring to you is. We actually met with them today, and it will be the sort of them reviewing who they are, sort of the methodology for their work, what they discovered in their salary study, and then giving us their best thinking around what the salary scales can look like. And then we've got some time. We'd like to not adopt them immediately. We'd like to have some conversations about the adoption of the new salary scales that they're going to propose. But we feel really good about what is sort of coming through this process to help us, one, sort of look at a more even trajectory of pay for employees over the lifetime of their experience here in the city of Falls Church, and two, bringing some internal and external equity around positions in the division, and then also in comparison to those 5 surrounding jurisdictions that we're working with.
And Chair Downs, you had mentioned the extra 1% increase, and you had mentioned thinking that would go for COLAs. Just to play devil's advocate here for a moment, would it be worthwhile to save that money for the compensation study, or is it best to go to COLAs? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great question. The methodology that we're sort of toying with right now with the compensation study is to pour the COLA money into the compensation study, and then give everyone their step, because each person's step is actually going to 90% of the people who step will get a step plus a COLA if we adopt the schedules that we're looking at right now. And we can do that by infusing the money from the COLA into that salary study piece. So we're still working on some details. I'm probably out ahead of my skis a little bit right now, but we are looking at a methodology where we're going to be able to use some of the COLA money to help with the compensation study. Kristen, do you want to add anything to that?
I think one of the questions that you're asking is, when we look at our pay relative to market, right, if we evenly apply a COLA across all the scales, right? In some cases, if we were above market, we're kind of exacerbating that problem. And if we were farther below in some places than others, we're not correcting where we're farthest below. And Siegel has been really integral in working with us, looking at how can we implement the salary study model at the same time, right? We're providing a step and putting in COLA and really trying to creatively use that COLA along with the compensation study to ensure that we're making the best use, where we're addressing those gaps where they're farthest from market where we can, and where we're not exacerbating those problems where we're over market by just flatly applying the full COLA on top.
Right.
So it's not gonna be just a flat COLA? So,
No, the COLA will be applied, but there will be modifications at each step
Got
to
it.
make it more evenly distributed across the.
between the two of you, I think I got the answer
All right.
that I was looking for.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the big nugget that I want to make sure the board is aware of is that the first thing that we're trying to accomplish is take care of those people that were the furthest outside of market and bring them as close to market as possible. And when we say as close to market, we're talking between 95% and 100% to market. And I think we're able to do that by doing some modifications in some of the scales. Will we be able to get 100% of the way there in year one? We're still sort of internally battling about that. But I think we're going to make some pretty good headway on it.
And that makes sense, thank you. To be blunt, I was concerned about exacerbating a problem and maybe not addressing another need that needed to be more addressed more quickly.
And that would be the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish.
Right,
So,
thank
yeah,
you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Silver. Ms. Tice?
I had a question that's just an echo from a question that council had last night, but that really combines some of our main topics tonight with our collective bargaining and the revenue sharing agreement. And I'm wondering if there is a way we can clearly communicate, how the interplay between the two will work in terms of, obviously, we're still going to honor the revenue sharing, and in terms of going into negotiations with collective bargaining, we're still obviously, we could only negotiate within the revenue sharing agreement and the money that we have, right? So if there's a way we can clearly communicate that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question, and it did come up last night. And one of the values of the collective bargaining resolution agreement that you all adopted tonight is that there is language in there that says that we can't exceed what the council gives us as part of our revenue share. And so if there is a moment where we've negotiated something that does exceed what we've gotten from council, there's a very brief window of time, I think it's about a week, that we have to come back to the table and negotiate it out. I think the challenge will be when we come back to the table, what do we do? How are we going to massage that and sort of work it through? And we won't know until we get there. But one of the things that we've got to be really clear about sort of as a community is what are we willing to give up in a moment like that, where maybe we don't get the money we need to do the salary increments and some of the other things that we've tried to negotiate through. One of the things we know in our organization that's a challenge is that because 87% of our revenue goes into people, the only place that we really can go to find money or to pull it out of the system or extract extra cash is through people. And the only way you can take people out of the system is by raising class size. And so one of the values of the City of Falls Church Schools is, we keep our class sizes really low and we're really relational. So hopefully we won't get there. Hopefully with all the building that's going on and the economic development in the city, we'll continue to stay strong economically. But there may come a time where we'll know, I think, at least going in, and can probably have some preliminary conversations with the collective bargaining teams. Even though we will have negotiated a 3-year contract, I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to work with whomever the person is that's going to be responsible to say, hey, look, revenue's not coming in where I thought it's coming in. We're going to have to figure something out and probably do some work ahead to try to cut some of that off at the pass.
Great, that all sounds great, and I think I appreciate that the language is clearly in there. It just wasn't sure if there was a way, if it would be a good one. I want to get back to council with their question and make sure that we've clearly answered their question. I'm not sure if they were waiting for further language on that. And 2, it might just be something that's helpful to highlight in this very long document as we're going into negotiations, just to keep it, in the forefront of people's minds.
Thank you, Ms. Tice. I think several of us were in the lobby when one of the city council members was talking to us specifically about the collective bargaining and how that affects the revenue sharing and all that. So I do think, yes, and you know, we are in that sense a little bit ahead of city council because we all know about our resolution, and this is something new to them because they have not gone through a collective bargaining resolution process. So I know Dr. Noonan, we had talked about Ms. Minson connecting with the new city attorney, and so, well, and I'm sure Ms. Michael will connect with Ms. Bawa, you know, so I'm sure, you know, we'll start working on that and making sure that they're informed on how that all will work.